Picture this. You finally buy your dream home in Texas, lock in your mortgage, settle in, and then suddenly, prices around you start dropping fast. Your equity shrinking. Your monthly costs rising. What looked like the perfect move could quietly turn into a financial trap in 2026. Across the Lone Star State, the real estate story is shifting. Sky-high prices, aggressive construction, investor-heavy markets, and rising mortgage rates are colliding at the worst possible time. Some cities aren't just cooling, they're showing early signs of serious correction. The question is, which ones are most at risk next? Welcome to Inside the States. Today, we're counting down 10 Texas cities where home prices could drop sharply in 2026. Stick with me, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more real estate insights that could save you thousands. Number 10. San Antonio, Texas. A city known for culture, history, and steady growth now finds itself in unfamiliar territory. Over the past few years, home prices surged to around $320,000, but wage growth hasn't kept up. That gap is becoming a serious issue in 2026. Inventory is quietly stacking up. Builders went all in during the boom, and now many are offering incentives, price cuts, and closing cost assistance just to move homes. That's often the first sign that demand is slipping. On top of that, a large portion of buyers here depend on service and retail jobs, sectors that haven't grown fast enough to support rising housing costs. Add mortgage rates hovering near 7%, and affordability is getting squeezed hard. Investor activity is another concern. During the peak years, investors flooded into San Antonio's rental market. Now, with rents flattening and vacancies inching up, some are starting to exit. If too many listings hit at once, prices won't just dip, they could slide. San Antonio may still look stable on the surface, but underneath, the pressure is building for a correction in 2026. Number 9. Denton, Texas. Energy, music, and a college town vibe make Denton feel unstoppable. But its housing market tells a different story. Home prices have climbed to roughly $385,000, yet nearly half the population consists of students. That's a risky foundation when your housing demand depends heavily on enrollment trends. And here's the problem. Student housing demand is softening. Occupancy rates have dropped noticeably, while new developments keep flooding the market. Since 2021, more than 9,000 units have been added, far exceeding typical absorption levels. The job market outside education isn't helping either. Growth is crawling at around 1 to 2% annually, while housing supply continues expanding much faster. That imbalance creates a classic oversupply scenario. Even more concerning, property tax delinquencies are rising. That's often an early warning sign of financial stress among homeowners. Denton still has its charm. But if supply keeps outpacing demand, 2026 could bring a noticeable price correction. Number 8. Beaumont, Texas. This Gulf Coast city isn't dealing with runaway home prices. It's facing something more complex. With median home values around $270,000, Beaumont may seem affordable. But affordability alone doesn't protect a market from decline. The local economy relies heavily on oil and petrochemical industries, which are notoriously volatile. When those sectors slow down, job losses follow, and housing demand weakens quickly. Then there's climate risk. Updated flood maps are pushing more properties into high-risk zones, and insurance premiums are skyrocketing. Some estimates suggest increases between 40% and 150%. That's a massive burden for homeowners. Add to that aging infrastructure, slow population growth, and limited high-paying job opportunities, and you've got a market struggling to attract long-term buyers. In Beaumont, the risk isn't a dramatic crash. It's a slow, steady erosion of home values that could intensify in 2026. Number 7. Frisco, Texas. Once one of Texas's most glamorous boomtowns, this Dallas suburb is starting to show cracks beneath its polished surface. Home prices have soared to around $675,000, nearly double the national average. But that rapid growth has hit a wall. Appreciation has slowed dramatically. From explosive gains just a few years ago to single-digit increases today. Meanwhile, construction hasn't slowed at all. Thousands of new homes are still being added, creating a growing supply just as demand cools. That imbalance is dangerous. Here's where it gets even riskier. About 40% of recent mortgages are adjustable rate. With interest rates above 7%, many homeowners could soon see monthly payments jump by $800 to $1,200. That kind of increase can trigger forced selling. Property taxes and insurance costs are also rising fast, adding even more pressure. Frisco still looks like a luxury hotspot, but in 2026 it could face a sharp reality check if too many sellers rush for the exit at once. Number 6. New Braunfels, Texas. Blending small-town charm with rapid growth, this city has been one of Texas's hottest destinations, but that fast expansion may be catching up with it. Home prices now average around $380,000, a huge jump for a market that used to fly under the radar. At the same time, inventory has surged more than 60% in recent years. Homes are sitting longer, and buyers are becoming more cautious. Infrastructure is struggling to keep pace. Water systems, schools, and roads are under pressure, operating close to capacity. That kind of strain can slow future growth and reduce buyer confidence. Investor activity is another red flag. With over 40% of properties owned by investors, the market is vulnerable to sudden shifts. If those investors decide to sell during a downturn, supply could spike overnight. Add rising vacancy rates and increasing ownership costs, and New Braunfels starts to look less like a boomtown and more like a market heading toward correction in 2026. Number 5. McKinney, Texas. Growth here has been impressive, but in 2026, that success is starting to backfire. Home prices have climbed to around $500,000, yet local incomes haven't kept pace. The price-to-income ratio has stretched beyond 5.5, far above the healthy range. That means fewer buyers can actually afford what's on the market. At the same time, construction is still moving full speed ahead. Thousands of new homes are either being built or approved, creating a pipeline that could overwhelm demand. Adjustable-rate mortgages add another layer of risk. Roughly one-third of recent buyers could see monthly payments jump by $800 to $1,000 as rates reset. That kind of shock can push homeowners to sell quickly. There are also signs of strain in everyday life. Schools operating above capacity, traffic congestion rising sharply, and commercial vacancies increasing. These aren't just lifestyle issues, they signal a slowing local economy. McKinney still looks like a premium suburb, but the gap between prices and reality is widening. If demand weakens further, 2026 could bring a noticeable drop. Number 4. Plano, Texas. For years, Plano has been seen as one of the safest bets in North Texas. But even the most polished markets can crack under pressure. Home prices are hovering around $510,000, driven largely by luxury development and corporate expansion. But that momentum is fading. A major issue here is overbuilding at the high end. Developers focused heavily on upscale homes, and now many of those properties are sitting longer on the market. Builders have already started offering discounts and incentives, clear signs of softening demand. Investor influence is also unusually high. Around 40% of recent purchases involved investors. That creates volatility because investors tend to sell quickly when conditions change. Meanwhile, property taxes have jumped roughly 25% in just a couple of years, and mortgage rates remain elevated. That combination is squeezing affordability from both ends. Corporate growth, once Plano's biggest advantage, is also slowing, reducing the steady flow of high-income buyers. Plano may still look strong on paper, but in 2026, it's facing a fragile balance that could tip quickly if confidence drops. Number 3. San Marcos, Texas. A vibrant college town with rapid growth, but that growth is starting to look unsustainable. Home prices have risen to about $340,000, a huge jump in a short time. And in a city where more than half of housing is rental-based, that kind of increase can create instability. Student demand is the key factor here, and it's weakening. Enrollment has dipped slightly, but in a market so dependent on students, even small declines have big effects. Rental vacancies have already climbed significantly. Despite these signals, new construction continues. Thousands of additional units are on the way, increasing the risk of oversupply. Job growth outside education remains slow, under 1% annually. That means there aren't enough new workers to absorb all the housing being built. Flood risk is also rising, pushing insurance costs higher and making ownership more expensive. San Marcos still has energy and appeal, but the numbers suggest a market that may be stretched too thin heading into 2026. Number 2, Dallas, Texas. One of the biggest and most influential housing markets in the state is now facing mounting pressure from multiple directions. Home prices sit around $410,000, but affordability has taken a major hit. The price-to-income ratio has climbed above 5, making it increasingly difficult for middle-class buyers to enter the market. Investor activity is a major factor here. More than a third of recent purchases have been investor-driven, including entire rental communities. That creates a fragile situation, because if investors start selling, inventory could surge rapidly. The job market, while still strong, is cooling. Some corporate expansions have fallen short of expectations, and certain sectors, especially tech, are slowing down. Commutes are another hidden issue. With long travel times and rising costs, buyers are rethinking suburban living. Remote work is also reducing the need to stay close to the city, weakening demand in key areas. Add rising taxes, insurance costs, and high mortgage rates, and the pressure becomes clear. Dallas isn't collapsing, but in 2026, it could see sharper price corrections than many expect. Number 1, Austin, Texas. This is where everything comes together. Years of explosive growth have pushed Austin to the edge, and now the market looks overheated. Home prices reached around $570,000 after surging more than 70% in just a few years. But recently, momentum has reversed. Prices have already started slipping, and homes are taking longer to sell. The tech sector, which fueled much of Austin's growth, is no longer as strong. Thousands of layoffs since 2023 have reduced the pool of high-income buyers. Oversupply is another major issue. Inventory has jumped dramatically, with tens of thousands of units either built or under construction. That's a huge wave hitting the market at the wrong time. Investor activity is also high, making the market more volatile. If investors begin selling in large numbers, prices could drop quickly. On top of everything, nearly half of homeowners are spending more than 30% of their income on housing, putting them at financial risk if conditions worsen. Austin had its boom, but 2026 could be the year it faces its biggest correction yet. So, what does all of this mean for you? The Texas housing market isn't crashing overnight, but the warning signs are getting harder to ignore. Rising interest rates, growing inventory, and investor pullback are quietly reshaping the market. And in some of these cities, even a small shift could trigger much bigger price drops in 2026. If you're planning to buy, this could be your chance to stay patient and watch the market carefully. If you already own, it might be time to understand your local trends before they change. Because in real estate, timing isn't just important, it's everything. Let me know in the comments, which of these cities surprised you the most? And do you think Texas home prices will actually drop in 2026 or bounce back stronger? If you found this breakdown helpful, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to Inside the States for more deep dives into housing trends, booming cities, and markets to avoid. I'll see you in the next one.